Hello, and welcome back to Eat Meat and Question Everything. Yay, we have my friend Lauren on here. And
Hey, Courtney.
should I butcher your last name or do you want to do it?
Uh,
Legrecci.
I love the enunciation. My name is Lauren Legressi or Legrecci. Whatever you want to say is fine. And Courtney invited me on Eat Meat and Question Everything. Although right now we're both working at fasted and highly caffeinated. So
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a shit show, but it would be regardless of being fasted and caffeinated. So I'm excited to chat. So Lauren is one of my internet friends that I actually got to meet in person down in San Diego. I schlepped my ass down there to come meet you, and we had
yes, you did.
barbecue.
Some of the worst barbecue. No, I'm just kidding.
It wasn't the best. Unfortunately, like is this a thing? Like all barbecue places are serving leftovers on Sunday?
I don't know. I don't have my pulse on or my finger on the pulse of the barbecue world and restaurants, but let me tell you, I was mortified. So Courtney follows me on the internet. I think she's famous, okay? And she is famous, all right, especially compared to
Hardly.
me. And she had been following me for a while. I don't even know how she found me, but I guess she liked me. So she was following me, and I said I was going to San Diego to visit my sister, and she said, "Well, let's meet up." So I picked the place. We show up, it's a ghost town, and she walks up to me, and I'm like, oh my God. I was already nervous to meet her. My first impressions are not the best. So I was nervous to meet her, and she goes, why don't I, first thing she said, why don't I smell any barbecue? She says. And I go, oh my God. I said, I don't know. And then I'm like, oh, let's go somewhere else. And she's like, no, no, it's fine. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, and then I feel like after that, people, I don't know what, because I was vlogging that day, so maybe like someone commented, but or was it you? Someone said like Sundays are like leftover days or something for
We
barbecue
did have
places.
that big beef rib, and it
That
was
was
delicious.
good. It
Everything
was
else
like
was awful.
something else. It was like the brisket. It was like in a cup of like broth or something. It was bizarre.
Yeah,
But I
clearly
mean,
leftover.
even bad meat, that sounds dirty, is still
Yeah.
good meat. Like, even if it wasn't the best, it was still like good in a way. Like, there's no such thing as bad pizza, kind of, you know?
I'm from New York,
I don't
so
know, but like,
false.
even bad pizza is still pizza. Can it be that bad?
Yeah, it can be really
Oh,
very
maybe I'm
bad.
just not a picky person. I'll eat whatever.
I'm super picky, so yeah.
Okay, well, you're in New York. Where in New York are you?
So right now I live upstate. I'm from the city, but I live upstate in the
Oh, you
capital
are from this
region.
city.
Yeah, I was born in Staten Island, and then I lived in
Okay.
Jersey, grew up on the Jersey Shore, and then I actually went to high school in Manhattan, and now I live upstate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Okay. I love New York. Like it has a little special place in my heart. I spent a lot of time there on my boats and then
Oh,
Jeff and is it me and Jeff or Jeff and I? I don't know. But our first date, essentially, he flew out to New York to meet me. I was in the
oh,
Hamptons, but
oh,
we went to
fancy.
yeah, but I took the jitney to the city
Oh,
for the
geez.
weekend and he flew out to meet me. So lots of fun memories in the city.
Yeah, well, you have to come back and visit.
I
I'll
want
find
to.
better barbecue for you, I promise.
I want to. Yeah, we're manifesting like the Today Show or something, like getting on one of the shows out there, right? Would be amazing.
That would be awesome. I
Do you go
will
to
come
the
support
city?
you.
Do you go to the city a lot?
So I go down a lot for family, like a lot of family events and stuff. And then for a business I have, I go down a couple times a year. So yeah, love it.
I feel like it's gotten a little more skeevy or
Hmm.
just dirty. Like it's gone downhill since when I used to go, when I used to be there a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only down there for fun, so I'm only in the nice parts, I guess, you know?
Mm, okay.
So I have a different perspective, but I'm sure it has like everything, especially since COVID, it's kind of a different place. So
Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's see. What are we talking about today? See, and this is whole, and now I have to point it out because the whole time before we're like, okay, it's just going to be a breezy conversation. We're just going to talk about things. We're going to let it like flows. And now I'm like, okay, where are we flowing to? But
I
you
don't
know what?
know.
This is like, health and wellness essentially is our little umbrella. So I do want to talk about where you're at on your health and wellness
Oh,
journey because I know you're struggling
yeah.
but it's like you're not alone. Like we're all struggling. I feel like the majority of us are struggling, even those that are like eating carnivore. It's not always like the magical answer where it's like boom, you're at your goal weight and you're done. Like a lot of us have challenges even with carnivore losing weight. So, where are you at right now?
I was really hoping you would not ask me that because
This
I
one's
am
in
not,
bold highlighted.
oh, I'm not at my best place, you know? I don't know if I've been at my best place since like, I don't know, 2005. So, right now, without getting into like my entire history, I've actually recently started doing a timeline of like my existence. So I'm not going to get into all of it now, but right now I am at the point where I need to lose weight and I'm kind of just figuring out exactly how I have to do it, which when I say figuring it out, it more means coming to terms with how I have to do it, I think is really a better way to say it. Um, I am not I'm learning that I'm not the type of person that has a low carb honeymoon phase that loses 80 pounds magically and doesn't even know how the weight has fallen off. Like that's not me. And I'm someone that really has to work for it and really has to restrict. And I haven't really, I guess, felt like it. Or I felt like just by being I'm a low carb believer. I believe that I feel the best on low carb, you know, like mentally, physically. Um, but for me, it's not a magic pill for weight loss. It's definitely a magic pill for feeling better. I have no more acid reflux. I have less joint pain. I have way more energy, but it is not a weight magic pill for weight loss for me. I still have to do a lot of restricting, and I haven't fucking felt like it. So I guess I'm really coming to terms with the fact that I really have to. I have to pay attention to every piece of food that goes into my mouth and habits and habits that kind of are just more that get me moving more. I'm a pretty sedentary person, unfortunately, because I'm a CPA, I'm an accountant, so I sit on my ass all day long and that's like a career of sitting on your butt and that's not great. So anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm really very overweight still. You know, I'm pretty embarrassed to say so, but I'm working on becoming more open about my struggles. So I have about 100 pounds to lose, and I'm kind of just figuring out that I have to make some changes in order to get that weight off.
And what are those changes? Like, what have you been doing, and then what are you shifting to now?
So, what I'm shifting to, I've said this to Courtney, we've chatted about it, but I've been low carb, strictly low carb, and I've been clean low carb, I've been keto, I've been carnivore for months at a time. All of these things I've done for months at a time and really never had that honeymoon phase with anything because because I'm an overeater, I just eat too much food. So going forward, um, I am going to take I have a metabolic practitioner that I've been working with, and he says I need to take a prescriptive approach, a really prescriptive approach. And what I'm going to do is, for me, I'm going to track my macros and try to focus on higher protein macros, um, not eating excess fats, sticking to like zero carb or under 20 grams of carbs, depending on, you know, if I eat tomatoes or something. But um, so I'm going to be eating Specifically, I'm gonna be eating a higher protein, lower calorie lunch if I eat lunch. And then I'm gonna be eating a dinner that's just like meat based, like 3/4 of a pound to a pound of meat. And which I've never really been a snacker. I'm more of a meal person, like eating a large amount at a meal. So I'm gonna stay not snacking, and trying to think of what else. Oh, I'm gonna start walking more per day. I've kind of already become a walker, but I really need to be consistent with that and walk for longer amounts of time. I get very and Courtney, I'm sure you feel the same way. As a mom and a business owner, I get very my mind like totally wanders and I get super bored with activity. So, you know, if I'm on the Peloton, all I'm thinking about is the 18,000 other things I should be doing other than being on that Peloton, which I know is not helpful. So I'm trying to do longer walks and keep up with pickleball. I'm a big pickleball player. So I guess my approach going forward is much higher protein and more restrictive meals, like just eating less, not eating unlimited amounts of meat, unlimited amounts of keto foods. That's just not been helpful to me in the past. So really working
Okay.
on that. Yeah.
That's good. And does he want you doing like any fasting or OMAD? Like what have you talked about with that?
So he actually, I was thinking this morning, um, I used to do OMAD and I had some success with that. He wants me doing OMAD, but it's hard because I hear a lot of low carb. I listen to a lot of low carb podcasts, keto podcasts. I follow a lot of very popular people, and there's so much mixed messaging regarding OMAD. And I mean, I'm a full disclosure human, so I am very undermuscled. I've had a lot of physical issues in the past, so I'm undermuscled. So eating OMAD makes me a little nervous when you listen to the podcast, like Vanessa Spina's podcast, Ketogenic Girl, or if you listen to other people, they say that they would never recommend OMAD for fat loss because you're not getting enough protein in and you could have muscle loss. So I I get like too much noise in my head, but he wants me eating OMAD and I've thought about eating it again. I just, it already feels so restrictive when you're eating low carb. To me, it feels restrictive. You're eating low carb, you're not eating sugar, you're trying to restrict fats, so you're not even eating all the cheese that you want to eat or the other fatty things. And you can't have a ribeye every day. You are trying to eat not the highest fat every day for me, for someone in weight loss mode. So eating OMAD to me is just kind of like a slightly overwhelming concept, especially because I'm an early riser. So I'm up at like 3:34 in the morning sometimes. So I've had like I've had a long day before I even get to dinner time. So that's like a long day of like thinking about food and I don't know, stuff like that. That was long-winded answer to yes, he wants me eating OMAD. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm very long-winded.
no, that's good. I mean, I do see that there is some benefit to it. And this is just my thoughts, but maybe not like an everyday thing, but
Mm,
I see how it could be like a good tool where I know for me, I mean, and yes, there's like things on both sides. It's like you see people that are saying do OMAD, and then you see someone like Sarah, what's her last name? Kleiner, I think, that is saying that you should eat in the morning because of leptin resistance.
mm,
But for me, like if I eat in the morning, and I do, like I then follow Dr. Mindy Pels, and she says, don't do any fasting the week before you cycle. So I will eat like breakfast on those days. And I find it's like it opens the floodgates. Like, all right,
mm.
we're eating. Whereas if I do push off and do some intermittent fasting, then it's easier for me to stay within my macros if I'm not eating all day long. So I wonder if, since you claim to be like an overeater and you like to eat, that it may like benefit you. And as far as like the not hitting your protein, I can see how a lot of people cannot eat what they need in 1 to 2 hours for a day. I mean, but if you have a big appetite, like if you can eat what you need, then I don't see how that would be a harmful thing. Like some people can
Yeah,
sit down and eat a pound and a half of meat. Well, you're not going to have protein issues with that. So I wonder
yeah.
if you mix it in and maybe just have some OMAD days, if that might be helpful.
Yeah, I think it's something I've been thinking a lot about going back to that because I did have some success. I was OMAD years ago, and I think I was OMAD for like about a year, and I lost like 30 pounds in that span. I'm like, oh wait, I was doing OMAD then, and I think about it a lot. So I think I'm gonna start adding it in. I'm very all or nothing, and sometimes if I can't stick to something like every day, all day, I get really, I don't know, like eaten up about it. And I think the idea of just like mixing it in, and if I have a day that's not OMAD, it's like not the end of the world, you know? I think
Yeah.
that is something I need to like work on mentally.
Yeah, well, and then I also can see how it could not be a good thing. I do it occasionally, but it almost can feel a little bingey, like you're having a lot of food to get what you need at one time. So I could see how mentally it might not be helpful for somebody,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like to sit down and eat that big of a meal. But on the other hand, it could if that's just all you're having. I don't know.
Yeah. I remember really enjoying it. I remember it when I would come home from work. It would be kind of ceremonious, like cooking this meal because I haven't eaten all day, and then sitting down and enjoying it, and then like being done with it. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, but I don't know, I just got kind of off. I heard too much noise, or I just kind of went back to old habits of eating lunch or eating breakfast some days, which isn't really the worst thing, but I need to lose weight. So I need to figure out what tools are going to get me there, for this phase of life.
Yeah, and what's interesting is like you just said, you heard things and it's like I think a lot of us do that. We hear things and we stop doing what has been working for us
Mhm.
because we're hearing things. Like I mean for me before I even found carnivore, I stopped doing low carb keto because I got caught up in the anti-diet culture bullshit. And I
Mm.
stopped doing what was working for me because of this or like doing intermittent fasting. I also fell off of doing that for a while because of hearing things. And someone actually said this to me. They're like, well, why would you stop doing what you've been enjoying, what works for you, because someone else said something? And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, to an extent, you want to, take other things into consideration. But if it's actually working for you and you enjoyed it, like maybe that says more than what Susan is telling you to do about it.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's a very good point.
I mean, I've been talking at least just to Jeff about it. Like, I'm gonna bring back in some OMADs here and there just to help me not fricking eat all day, you
Well,
know?
yeah, I was gonna say, since not being OMAD, I've like lost touch a little bit with hunger cues. I used to do a lot more fasting, whether it was OMAD or extended. I loved extended fasting. I think the longest fast I've ever done is a 5 or 6 day
Oh,
fast, but it's not so bad. Like after
it
36 hours, after 48 hours, you're kind of in a really good groove and you almost
it's a
don't even want
mental
to eat
thing.
again. Yeah,
It's mental for sure. It's not actual like the physical hunger. It's like I love eating. So yeah, I mean I'm actually like surprised. That's impressive because for someone like us that likes to eat, that's a long time to go without eating.
yeah, yeah. And especially when you're like, I always call them these people, but like when you're cooking for the people in your house, it's super annoying. So, but you kind of feel empowered, you feel like you've gained control over your hunger cues and like your eating habits again. Sometimes when how I felt anyway, is just that eating was out of control, even if I was low carb or keto or carnivore, you can still feel like you're just eating too much and it's just out of control. So, especially after the holidays.
Yeah, I wanna go back to what you were saying about, like, less fat, though. I mean, is your doctor saying, like, that you should be eating only lean meats and having chicken, or is he just saying, eat the fatty meats, just not bring in any extra fat, like, in terms of, like, having a lot of dairy and cream? What's that?
He's let me think. They I know they want me to add in more lean meats. They like a couple protein sparing modified fast days a week, not every day, not for life, but just for this weight loss phase that I have to get into. So you can still eat other stuff. They just recommend, like for my lunch, for example, if I'm going to eat lunch, he suggests eating maybe a couple hard boiled eggs and low fat dairy that I can't overeat. Especially with me with my appetite, I can just overeat so easily. And if I'm grabbing things like cheese or nuts, which I don't eat nuts for that reason at all, but if I'm grabbing those things, they just recommend not doing it. When I'm in this weight loss phase right now, they're kind of what they'd call emergency foods, like nuts and cheese, and any keto treats or snacks are kind of a like break the glass kind of emergency foods. But in this weight loss phase, they don't think it should be the basis of like my entire day and week of eating, I guess.
But then the pound of meat they want you to have, they didn't specify, like, is it beef, just lean beef, or
They
just
kind of
whatever?
just they kind of just said whatever, mix in chicken. So I'm a mixed protein person for dinner. So like I'll have a couple ounces of salmon and then maybe like half a New York strip or something like that. just because that's how we cook dinner. But they didn't really specify. They just said just eat about a 3/4 of a pound to a pound of meat for dinner, whether it's a steak or chicken thighs or salmon. Just kind of focus on that. They didn't say eat chicken breast all day long. That's not something that they believe in. But I probably should. They I should add some more in and some shrimp and leaner proteins like sirloin.
Okay. Cause yeah, I mean, we don't want to be, I see the, what's the word I'm looking for? The help, that's not the right word, but, in having some leaner cuts. But I don't think he is saying that you should be eating like super lean. Like you still want to have fat in your diet, right?
Yeah, but yeah, yes, but in this weight loss phase, I need to cut fat. I need to cut some fat. I know that a lot of carnivores believe something different, but I've been eating quite high fat for a while, and it's just not like something that is benefiting me in this like weight loss phase. So, um, and I tend, if I'm eating intuitively, whatever that means, if I'm not tracking macros, if I'm not sticking to a plan, like my fat grams are just off the charts. So it's something I need to be cognizant of and um and like make sure I rein it in if I want to lose weight.
Yeah, I mean, I get that to an extent. I just know that I mean, we need fat at least to like for our hormones and to feel good. So we don't want to be at just zero fat from chicken breast, but
No,
maybe
no.
not having 150 grams of fat. So that's
Yeah.
why I was just kind of curious, like if he was saying like, oh, maybe be like around 90, 100 grams of fat, but he hasn't even given, he
They don't get
didn't
into
say.
macros.
Okay.
So yeah, they don't really get into specific macros.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this then? Like your new
I
plan?
like a week.
Okay.
So yeah.
Is it
I mean, I've
working
been
so
low
far?
carb. I've been low carb keto slash carnivore, like some combination thereof for a while, but with the exception of falling off occasionally. But um, so the full approach is if I'm going to eat lunch, make it high protein, low fat, lower fat, things I can't overeat. Eating a prescriptive dinner of just like a pound of meat. Um, and there were four things: walking more, like steady state cardio for longer periods of time during the day, which I often walk to and from work, which is 2 miles there, 2 miles back. So that's a good, it's cold here in upstate New York, but I plan on doing that. And then the fourth thing was this thing called gated eating, which it's kind of a new concept to me. I'm not overly familiar with it, but let's pretend I'm eating this prescriptive method for 4 days and I don't meet my goal, which is to lose a pound a week or a pound in those 4 days, then to fast on that fifth or sixth day until I lose and get to that goal of a pound. And one weekend and I was successful with that. So that felt really good. However, I was just sick all week last week. And I think my weight was just like down from being sick. So I do think that had a little bit to do with it. But I was very cognizant of like every morsel going into my mouth for those 4 days. And I was really um, sticking to the plan. And I actually felt a lot better too. So that was good. We'll see if I can, we'll see if I lose another pound this coming week.
That's good. Well, it sounds like you're on the right track. Um, how does your family eat? Do they eat the way you do, or do you have to like
These
cook other
people,
things? Right?
yeah, these people eat they they kind of follow. Oh, I'm the one that is cooking primarily, so dinners, I have good control over most of the time, unless my husband comes home with like bread or something like that that tortures me, and I stare at and I take pictures at and post on Instagram with like all the middle fingers, pointing at the bread. So, my poor husband, I feel I feel bad because I'm kind of made the decision myself to make this change, which of course he'll support me. He wants me to be the best version of myself, but without consideration for them and what they like and what they want to have in the house, I kind of ban a lot of foods. And my husband has a secret stash of like, I'm not going to unmentionables down in the basement. And I know whenever he's going down there, he's like snacking. So and he's a string bean and he's super healthy. He's on his feet all day. He's an electrical engineer, so he's in and out of labs and running around like a chicken with his head cut off under machinery fixing things. So you know he doesn't really need to be on the same plan as me, but um my daughter, I try to I don't want to say restrict. That really doesn't sound great. I don't want, but I try not to let her load up on sugar, and I try to focus on the protein for her. And I try to explain to her that, these things build your brain and your muscles and your body, and, the other stuff is just, kind of whatever. So,
Yeah, I think teaching, the kids like the why and, not just like, oh, you can't have that, it's bad, but like bringing it to their attention, like why it's bad and how it will make you feel and how it'll make you a crazy person later, running around in the afternoon after all that sugar. So,
yeah, it's hard. I mean, I think it's very hard as a parent, especially when I'm the only one in my life that eats this way. So, it's like an uphill battle with every other family member that's around, my daughter. So that's a bit of a challenge, but I kind of just say to her, like, this, these proteins and some of this fruit and some of this vegetable is food, but like nothing else, like all this other stuff is just not food. That's kind of what we call things in the house. It's
yeah.
like food and not food. So, um, which I don't know, it might be one of the ways I'm damaging her in the future, but who knows? Add it to the
No,
list, I
I mean,
guess.
we're all just hoping for the best. Me too,
Yeah.
that I'm not like, because I get the comments, oh, you're going to give your kid an eating disorder. And it's like, well, I sure hope not. But I mean, why should I, you know, let them have sugar and junk food every day just to have things in balance and in moderation? Like, how is that serving them? So, yeah, that's why I think
Yeah.
just the education and teaching them proper nutrition and how it affects their body is what's hopefully going to help them in the future. And yeah, I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole. I feel like I've talked about my kids eating a lot lately, so I don't even want to go there today.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a daily battle for sure. Earlier you mentioned pickleball is one of your new ventures with movement, walking and pickleball. What do you have to
Yeah, I
say
love
about that?
pickleball.
It's
I
trending right
love
now.
pickleball. So I was a collegiate racquetball player. I loved racquetball. It was an excellent sport in college. Um, but after college, when I gained a lot of weight, and there wasn't much for racquetball up here, so I kind of didn't do it, and I really missed that competitive outlet. And then a few years ago, I found pickleball, and I was like, this is the best. So I love it. I play a couple times a week, and I'm in a bunch of leagues. I have a really good group of people that I play with here. I actually just became a certified instructor. Um, I take groups of, I work in a homeless shelter, and I take groups of men from our shelter to some courts and teach them how to play. I also teach some friends and teach kids and other people how to play, some coworkers. So I love pickleball. If you haven't played, I know it gets a bad rap, especially from tennis players. But I haven't met a tennis player that's actually played pickleball and not had the best time. So if you haven't played, go play. I know, Courtney, I wish we were closer and I could get you on the pickleball court. So
Yeah,
maybe
it's
someday.
actually really fun. I feel like it's super popular. Well, I feel like it's trending right now with like, the younger kids as 40-year-olds, but I feel like it really started with like the older people. I mean, my mother-in-law, sorry, I don't mean to call you old, but like my mother-in-law's age, like I feel like her, community, like they have pickleball teams. Like it's growing rapidly. I think we first played. Oh goodness, I wanna say maybe like 4 years ago, and we've hardly done it since, but our neighborhood, like, gym sort of community center, they have tennis courts with pickleball lines on it, and it's fun. Like, it's a good
Yeah.
workout, and it doesn't feel like you're working out either.
No, I'm not thinking about anything else when I'm playing pickleball. I am just straight up thinking about crushing the ball or beating people or, you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, now that you're an instructor, like, do you see yourself ever doing something with that, like, as a business, a way to make money, like teaching lessons?
Yeah, so I've been teaching for about a year, so I'll continue to do that, probably on a small scale. I don't have too much extra time in my schedule, but I have a lot of people that have been asking for me to teach them, for me to teach them. So, and I was teaching for my company, so I'll probably keep doing lessons. I don't know what else I would do. Beyond just little lessons in my neighborhood and stuff, but I'm open to anything. If you want some pickleball lessons and you're in upstate New York, find me because it's just a ton of fun. I Yeah, I hope to run some leagues my at my local gym and a couple of the gyms close by, that there's pickleball players, but there's not leagues. And leagues are kind of fun because you get a prescribed amount of games, which I know sounds weird, but like when you go to open play, sometimes there's so many people there that you only get 1 or 2 games in. But with leagues, you get like 8 games in that 2 hour period. And a ladder league specifically, you get to like beat people and like rise to the top of the ladder or not beat people and fall to the bottom. So it just kind of creates a nice competitive, I don't know, atmosphere. So I hope to host some leagues and yeah, and teach some lessons.
I could see you doing that, especially like as a CPA, just getting everything like all organized and here's what you're doing. Like I feel like it would be very on brand for you.
Yeah, it would definitely be in Excel, without a doubt.
Oh my God. I've never even used Excel. Like I wouldn't even know how to do that thing.
It's the best. It's the best. I'll teach you that too.
Okay, so we were talking about something that I wanted us to wait and save and talk about here. Um, Talking about vanity sizing, the healthy at any size movement, and I feel like it's a touchy subject. But I feel like the people that are listening to this, like they'll be in agreement with us. I think it's, the people that think we're nuts for eating this way probably feel the opposite. What are your thoughts on that? And you also, I feel like, have a unique perspective too. So
Yeah, so I don't know why it's probably the people I follow on Instagram, but I feel like I'm constantly bombarded with this healthy at any size message. The people I follow and even magazine covers like Cosmo or Good Housekeeping. I can't remember, but you see these people on the cover and they're touting, big headlines, healthy at any size. And I look at this and I just shake my head. I'm like, how could these people, the people creating the magazine covers, the people on the cover, like send this message of healthy at any size? It is baffling to me. Having been thin in the past, I didn't really gain a lot of weight till my first year out of college. In public accounting, I gained like 90 pounds in 1 year. So before that, I was much thinner and much healthier. And, just this healthy at any size, like it's just not true. It's like a delusion to me. Every time I see a headline or a newspaper article or whatever, I just shake my head. I'm like, how could you think that you're healthy at this size? And I think to myself, maybe they're just like 22 and nothing hurts. And like nothing has accumulated yet where there's been no impact truly. But I just think it's like a just complete delusion.
yeah, and I mean, there's one thing to be like confident and love yourself at every size. Like that's great. Like I don't want anybody to think, like you're a gross person or whatever. So
Right.
I feel like it's like I don't know, that's where I feel like it's getting wonky is no one's saying don't think you're beautiful. We're just
Yeah.
saying that that can't be healthy. And we're both speaking from experience.
Yeah.
I've been about I was almost like 200 pounds, which is like 70 pounds overweight, maybe even a little bit more. So I'm not saying this as, a thin person their whole life. Like me at that weight was not healthy. And sure,
Hmm.
have confidence and think you're great and show off your curves if you want, but
Hmm.
pretending that that's like a good thing, like no, like my labs were not great, I was pre-diabetic. So I don't understand how, you know, being overweight, obese, morbidly obese should be celebrated.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think I weigh 240 pounds now, and um, I would, so I am like the person on the cover, actually even smaller. Some of the people on these covers are like 350 pounds, just a guess. I mean, I don't know, obviously, but I could never imagine, I could never imagine telling my daughter it's healthy to be this size. Like, that's who I think people are reading these covers, like healthy at any size. Like, you're not healthy. It's like you're trying to justify your current condition. And I agree with you. No one's saying don't love yourself. I love myself. No one's saying you can't be beautiful. I don't think I'm a troll. Like, I think I look moderately pretty. I still get hit on, which is baffling to me, but um I just think it's just I think it's a delusion. They're trying to justify the current their current condition, the current size, and say, I can do a common message is, even though I'm overweight or plus size or fat people, whatever they say, I can do everything and live the exact same life someone of a healthy weight and size can live. And that is for sure not true. Life is much easier at a smaller size. And I don't mean stick skinny. Like Courtney, you're very thin. I don't know if I've ever been like your weight, but like an ideal weight for me would be like 150 pounds. That would be a fantastic weight for me. And even, which is probably still overweight, but that's even just a much easier weight to manage just physically, just like being about the world, like just existing, for shopping, for sitting in seats, for physically moving and being able to do everything your body should do. So I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine. This message is baffling to me. It's like truly a wild, like message.
Yeah, and then I feel like someone who's really overweight loses weight. It's like they get shit on for that too.
Yeah.
Like, how dare they change themselves? Like I just think of like Adele, I feel like got a lot of clap back when she was losing weight. There's
Yeah.
another model out there. I'm blanking on the name. Tess, is that who I'm thinking of? There's someone
I
that
don't
was
know.
like a huge plus size model. And I mean huge not in the size wise, but like
No.
well known.
Yeah.
um that has recently lost weight and like getting hate because of it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. It's
why
wild.
they should be able to do what makes them feel their best and be healthy. I don't know. It's just weird.
Adele's a great example because she was obviously beautiful before. She was world famous, beautiful, had a great career, and then she lost weight and she's like stunning now. I mean, you look at her and she's like stunning. She was always beautiful. You can certainly be beautiful like plus size. You can love yourself plus size, but I don't know. I think the ultimate act of like self-love is realizing like you could be better, you could be happier, you could move better, you could be better, you could live longer, and then making the change and like taking action to get there and be that best version of yourself. I think that is like the ultimate act of self-love, not just saying I can be healthy at any size. It's like actually just trying to be your healthiest version of yourself, which is not 300 pounds, period.
Yeah, I agree. And I wonder the ones that don't like to see that happen, if it makes them like maybe they're also overweight and they're struggling to, you know what I mean? Like they're seeing someone else win where they're struggling
Mm.
and maybe that's like where they're being bothered. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe. I think they've just never experienced, some people are truly overweight like their whole lives, which I haven't, is not my experience. So I know, how, I know the ease of being at a better, healthier weight, so I wonder if they just never had that experience. So they just don't have a reference point.
That's interesting. That's a good point too.
Or think about it, Courtney, but before you were low carb, before you were keto, think about the fact that you had never been in a ketogenic state. You never got to experience even a fasted state where you had, a clear mind, unlimited energy. If you had never experienced it, you would just have no idea how great it feels.
Yeah, so that's just kind of like their baseline. That's just what they know
Correct.
to be normal. And that's their, however they're feeling is probably like, as good as it's been for them. They don't
Right.
know that it could be better.
Yeah.
Ugh, I
And
just
I'm
want to
not
like
saying life is better, like automatically better skinnier, and I don't even mean being stick skinny and being 95 pounds, but health,
right.
you're certain, healthier in a lot of ways at that, at a healthier normal weight for your body.
Well, yeah, I mean, just even having that extra weight on your body, Lord knows what's going on the inside, but just what carrying around that weight is doing to your joints. I mean, I'm down 50 pounds right now. I I can't even like, okay, I can pick up 50 pounds, but pick up 50 pounds. The
Yeah.
fact that you're like lugging that around,
Yeah.
like,
And I'm lugging around and I play pickleball, I'm active, but it's taken its toll on my joints for sure. I never used to have to consider anything with movement. And, like I have a lot of knee issues. I've had ankle surgeries. Um, it's definitely a struggle. So maybe these people are just young and it hasn't caught up to them. And certainly the message of not everyone overweight has the same issues, right? Sometimes it's a knee issue, sometimes it's prediabetes, sometimes it's, not every overweight person is diabetic, right? Not every overweight person is high cholesterol. Not everyone has the same issue, But to say that you're entirely healthy is just like inaccurate.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, not to like bring up your labs, it's not my
Mhm.
information to share, but weren't you even saying like some of your markers looked good or
Oh yeah,
do
I'm
right
not
now?
pre-diabetic. I have A1, my A1C I think was 5.1 or 5.2. Um, Other markers are pretty good. So,
That's
but
interesting.
I have Hashimoto's, so it's like kind of an uphill battle with that lovely little treat that I get to have. So,
Yeah, so that's like a whole other thing because I feel like, I see a lot of people that eat carnivore, keto, whatever, and they heal their hashies or they have it in remission or it's very
yeah.
manageable. But do you feel like that's been the case for you or you're still struggling with it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they'd know. Maybe their antibodies are down, but I don't really have a good answer to that because I've told Courtney, like I've reached out to a lot of people that say they've healed their Hashimoto's and they either are not in remission anymore or never really got off medicine. Their symptoms just got better. I guess maybe I'm not in touch with my body enough to know what my symptoms are. I don't know. I know that I have the antibodies that, say that you have Hashimoto's and, some other things. I know Hashimoto's makes it like a lot harder to lose weight, but Courtney, we've actually been chatting about this behind the scenes because Courtney's on a mission to like help me forever. So, yeah, I don't really have a good handle on like other people's journeys. My metabolic practitioner said he's helped thousands of people. He's never met one person that's put their Hashimoto's into remission.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, okay, because then I have seen, I mean, because when we were talking about that, I was getting a lot of messages, and a lot of people have said like they've come off of their meds from eating this way. So that's interesting that he would say that.
Maybe it's just not been his experience with any of his patients.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Well, okay, since we're talking about like medications right now,
Mhm.
here's the latest, hot topic. What are your thoughts on Ozempic,
Oh,
how do you even say it? Monjaro, I don't even know what the other one is.
Manjaro, Ozempic.
Manjaro, there you go.
I dream. You want me to be honest? Totally
Yes, of
honest.
course.
I dream about going on it every day. I think about it all the time, especially because I've been weight stable for like pretty much weight stable for years. So, it's almost like I'm already in maintenance mode. It's like I've skipped weight loss phase and now I'm just like forever in maintenance mode. So, I actually think, aside from my desire to overeat, which is disallowing me to lose weight, I actually think I have a pretty good diet. And so I actually think I'm like the person that would really do well on Ozempic, like lose a lot of weight. And then I already have a lot of good habits now. I wish I had these habits 15 years ago when I joined public accounting and gained 100 pounds. Like I never would have gained it had I had these habits. So I dream about going on it all the time. I am always one phone call away from going on it. And I don't know, but I have very bad luck generally in life, like things that work for other people. I don't mean weight loss, I mean just anything. Like I'll have just the worst possible outcome from something. So I'll never go on it, but I want to. How's
Yeah, I
that?
mean, I have mixed feelings on it. Like, I think it's being overused by people that maybe have like 30, 40, 50 pounds to lose. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, consider like the side effects. Like, maybe you just need to make some changes. But if someone like you who is already doing the right things, like, I definitely think there's a mental aspect, and even people who have like stomach surgery, like, you can't continue what you've been doing if it's not a good thing after you have these things. So it's interesting to watch people that take this still eat garbage food. Like,
Mm,
let's make some good choices because what happens when you go off of it? You're now, instead of eating one Oreo because your appetite's suppressed, you're going to eat the whole sleeve. So I
mm-hmm.
think, and then also, like, as far as like the side effects, I think if someone is like 500 pounds and
Yeah,
cannot lose that weight, like, yes, they also need to work on the mental, but it's like, maybe you should do it. Maybe the
yeah,
risks of, you know, outweigh the risks. Like, being 500 pounds is going to kill you. So maybe take the risk on what the side effects could be hope for the best that your stomach doesn't get paralyzed and get
I
that weight
know.
off of you. But I think a lot
Yeah.
of people aren't doing the mental work and they're not being taught proper nutrition. And so I wonder like what happens when these people go off of it or if it's like a lifelong thing. Like I don't even know. Like what are the typical plans? Like do they want you off of it once you get to your goal? Or do they
I'm
want
not really
to
sure. I've never looked into it too much because I felt like I would, I just haven't looked into it too much. But I, I read something that said, like the long-term success is nil. It's like, it's pretty much nothing. There's a lot of weight regain, but I haven't delved into it too much because I'm like one, sneeze away from calling my doctor and asking him for it. So, um,
but I mean the
yeah,
point of it is to it suppress your appetite, right? Like
yeah,
that's all it's doing. So, I mean, it seems like you're on the right track with you've
hmm
been eating the right things. Now you're working on eating less.
hmm
So maybe you don't need it. Like you could hopefully do this on your own.
yeah, hopefully. Well, from my perspective is that I would rather be fat forever than lose weight and gain it again. Like that would be like too much emotionally for me to handle, I think, because I'm pretty mentally strong, but like to lose all that weight and like throw out all my clothes and then buy all new clothes and then gain weight again, like that's just not for me. I'd rather just be fat forever if that's the case.
Yeah.
So I would, I don't know.
I also wonder what this drug is doing to people because I feel like there's a certain look everyone has that's taking it and losing a lot of weight. Like, I don't know.
Mm.
Like it's not just that they're thin. Like there's
Well, they're
another
losing I mean, they're losing muscle. There's like
then that
muscle
must be it
wasting. Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I actually know a ton of people that are on it.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of people, like at least 10 people I know that have taken it or are on it now. And I always say I'm like jealous of them. I fucking hate being, oh, sorry. I hate being around them. I'm just like mad about it because they can just eat a few bites of food and then be totally happy, and not want to eat a whole tray of food like I do. So, um, but there's definite muscle wasting. That's like a fact. So, because they're just not eating enough protein, to keep the muscle on their bodies, I guess. But
So it almost seems like if you're going to do it, like be carnivore or be
yeah,
keto. So at
yeah,
least you're getting your protein. Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I see the appeal. I see how you would want to try it, but you
Well,
don't think you ever
I'm like
will.
an I never will because I try not to take meds at all. So, the only thing I'm on is my stupid thyroid medicine. So I don't even take medicine when I have a headache. I just am an anti-medicine person. Actually, I thought I had strep throat 2 weeks ago, and I was like, crap, I don't want to go on antibiotics. And I was like, crap, I'm not going to take the antibiotics. So I'm going to be contagious for like weeks and I can't play pickleball. So I'm contagious. So I know I won't go. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll just be so sick of myself that I'll go on it, but I doubt it. Um,
But then you see it. I follow some people where it doesn't even work for them.
well, that would be my luck. Either wouldn't work for me, which would be funny, or my like stomach would explode or something. So yeah,
I do they still make diet pills? Like
I wish.
why is this the
Just
new
kidding.
thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like I took diet pills in high school. It wasn't the fen though. I feel like it was
Was it
after.
Stackers? Was it Stackers?
Oh, but that was one of them. That wasn't my go-to, but yes, what was that ingredient? That
Ephedrine.
was it?
Yeah.
Okay, which is fen, right? I
I
mean,
don't I
fen
don't
was
know.
like the brand I think of. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it just makes you not hungry. Cocaine
Yeah.
does that too, and I feel like
Why I've never done cocaine because I would probably love it. I would definitely love it. So I've never done cocaine for the internet to know that. Never done cocaine.
I'll plead the fifth. Um,
Yeah. Oh.
so yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird,
Do you know anyone that's taken the shot?
yeah. Yeah, I
Mm.
know like online people and a few people in real life and yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's certain situations that might be good, but I don't know. I'm pretty judgy silently internal for some of these people that have taken it. It's like,
Yeah.
was that really like really? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because then what happens when you're done? If you are still continuing your bad habits that got you to be overweight. So I don't know, but it's none of my business, I guess. I'll just worry about me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
All right. Is there anything you want to touch on? Anything, words of
Oh,
wisdom
geez.
you want to leave anybody with?
No, I have no advice. No advice for anyone. I hope to be someone that can give advice someday, you know. Um, but no advice. Words of wisdom, no.
All right, goodbye, folks. That's it.
Ah,
No. But okay, but we want to like cheer you on. I'm excited for this new thing you're doing because I think you've been doing all the right things, but you just need to dial it in a little bit.
yeah,
Hopefully. Hopefully that's the
yeah.
magic answer. So where can everybody find you? Because I know we're having some name change debacle.
Yeah, so there's an identity crisis currently happening. Courtney's been along for the ride. She's so sick of me talking about it
I love
that
it
she's probably,
secretly.
oh, yeah, she's not going
I
to be
like
friends with
talk
me
No, but I
anymore.
love talking about all like the business side of things and the
Yeah.
behind the scenes thing and just everything that goes along with, showing up on social media. So,
Yeah. So my Instagram handle is Lauren Adapting right now. I'm probably going to change it in the future to just be my name. So that's been a lot of the discussions that we've had, Courtney and I. But I recently got TikTok. She made me get TikTok.
oh, because
Um,
why? Do you want to tell them why? Are you not putting this
oh,
out there yet?
I haven't put it out into the world yet. Um, so my daughter and I are going on a special trip, and it's in June. Is this why I did it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going on a special trip and I wanted to document the trip. And she's not really a part of my Lauren adapting life. I tried to keep the kids' stuff to a minimum, but she's definitely going to be a part of this journey for me. We're going in June. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but I wanted to do some YouTube content and really document the trip we're taking. But then I was like, no one in my life even knows about Lauren adapting. It's actually kind of like a secret account. No one even knows about it. Now I guess the world will know. Not that anyone, yeah. And
Is your
so
family going to
no one,
listen to this? Or you're not even telling them that you're on this either?
I don't know. I don't know. No one in my life knows about Lauren adapting. It's been very private. I mean, it's public on Instagram, but it's been private to me because this journey has kind of been, I always tell people I'm like the only overweight person I know. It's kind of like a weird place to be. Everyone around me does not struggle with this. So it's been kind of like my private struggle, but I'm trying to be more open and public about it in case maybe someone will benefit and someone can see themselves in me and in my struggle. So anyway, so maybe it's time Lauren Adapting becomes public, and then I can share this journey I'm going on with my daughter there because I want my friends and family to follow and be kind of a part of our little journey. And anyway, so that's why I don't even know how we got onto the topic, but on
Why you
Instagram,
started your TikTok. Yeah.
why I started my
For
TikTok
this trip. Yeah.
for this trip that we're going on, and I'll announce that soon. So probably on TikTok. So if you'd like to follow me on TikTok, I'm Lauren Lagresi, and on Instagram, I'll probably be just Lauren Lagresi soon. So, but right now I'm Lauren
In
Adapting. So
14
follow
days,
in
you'll
14
be
days when I change my
when they
change,
allow you to change your name again.
yes, change my name again. I had to like release it and then yeah, whatever. So, that's it.
Okay. And if I remember, I'm horrible at this stuff, but I will link everything in the
Oh
show
yeah.
notes and like in the YouTube description if you're watching this. I should remember. I need an assistant. Anyone?
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I need a VA or something.
I know you do. You do. So
An intern preferably.
thanks for having me
Okay.
on, Courtney. Thanks for
Thanks.
chatting.
Yes, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you guys, found this entertaining or helpful or useful. Come find Lauren. Let's cheer her on her journey. It is my
I
life's
know.
mission
I
to
know it
help
is. I
you.
hope I don't fail you.
No, you're
So,
not going to. It's going to
ugh,
happen.
I know.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.